and welcome. The government has unleashed a reforms blitzkrieg, but does it have the numbers to be able to turn this vision into action? Joining us in hot pursuit is Mr. Kapil Sibal. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
We've seen the government now bite several bullets, and FDI in pension, FDI in insurance, proposals that have been hanging in the air for many years now are finally being pushed through the cabinet. But the fact is, you don't have the numbers to push this through in Parliament. What's the government's stance?
We'll see. We'll tell you the plan as the government moves the bills. But the great thing is that we have taken those decisions and we're going to move those bills.
But to take the decisions is one thing, to see them implemented quite another.
Why do you assume that they won't be implemented?
Because the BJP has made it abundantly clear already that they will not back the proposal to have 49%.
I thought Prakash Javadekar said that, look, we are looking at the fine print, we'll see.
What the BJP is telling us is that they want the limit to be at 26%, not at 49%.
We'll see. This is something that needs to be addressed. I mean, I let the nation know, let the people of India know that they are opposed to these reforms. I think that, see, these are issues that ultimately will go to the people. What is the UPA is saying what? We're in deep crisis. There's an economic crisis in this country. Our deficit is beyond 5.1%. We can afford this. The price of petroleum products has never been like this before. It may even go up, right? The rupee went up to 55, 56, right? And how will we finance our social sector schemes? How will we get economic growth back on track? Unless we have these major reform measures. And insurance is vital. Why is it vital? Because insurance brings you long-term funds. And why are long-term funds vital? Because long-term funds, are used in infrastructure. Unless you have infrastructure in this country, none of your measures will work.
But the standing committee approved 26% FDI in pensions and insurance. You've pushed the limit to 49%. Surely you know you don't have the numbers to be able to make this happen.
You're saying the same thing. We would like to know where parties stand. Do they want reform in this country or they don't want reform in this country? Remember this.
So this is brinksmanship.
No brinksmanship. The people of India should know which party stands for reform and which party is opposed to it. And the 2014 election is around the corner, right? And the BJP has always been talking about that it's a party with a difference. And now the BJP is seen as a throwback to the 19th century. That's the mindset of the BJP. Let the people of India decide. And I'm sure that when it comes to the crunch, they will realize that if they are on the wrong side of history, nothing is going to happen.
But is it not ironical, sir, that when the Congress was in opposition and the BJP was trying to push these reform measures through, it's the Congress which opposed it?
Where did they push?
When Yashwant Sinha, as finance minister, said, let's bring in FDI to insurance and insurance at 49%, it's the Congress which at that time opposed it.
Did they introduce the bill in Parliament? They did not. They didn't have the courage to do so. That's the difference between the BJP and us. We have the courage to introduce the bill in Parliament. Let's see what the BJP does. Let's see where they stand. And that's the point that we are making. That we are taking these decisions after 2 years of trying to persuade them. And you look at all the reforms that we want. The GST, they've blocked it. Financial sector reforms, they've blocked it. Insurance, they've blocked. Pension, they've blocked. Retail, they've blocked. I mean, is this a party which is thinking about the future of India? Or is this a party that is wanting to snatch the future for itself?
But if you look at FDI in retail, for example, we've seen Mamata Banerjee now say that she'll bring a no-confidence motion. Naveen Patnaik said he would support her. DMK is opposing this tooth and nail. The Samajwadi Party is opposing this. Do you think when a no-confidence motion is brought in the winter session, the government could be in trouble?
As I said to you, they are entitled to bring no-confidence motions. That's your parliamentary process. As and when that is brought, we will face it. But don't worry about it. We're here till 2014.
You're not worried because the numbers are against you.
Don't worry.
The DMK and the SP are all opposed.
You guys have been saying this for several years now. This government is going to fall tomorrow. The numbers are against. The allies have run away. All this you've been saying. And you will continue to say because it makes good television news. But the reality on the ground is, who wants an election? Are they ready for an election? Is the BJP ready for an election? So let's be clear that these are all tactics, posturing, and it has long-term implications. If the BJP opposes us on these issues, it will be seen as a party which is a throwback to the 19th century mind.
Let me ask you this question. At the beginning of the interview, you said India is in an economic crisis. Your critics say it's the government's policy paralysis that landed us in this crisis in the first place. The decisions that you're taking now, if you'd taken 2 or 3 years earlier, we might not have been in this problem in the first place.
Where is the paralysis? I'll give you my example.
Yes.
The example of my ministry.
No, but what about economic decisions?
No. You're talking about government.
I'm talking about economic decisions.
Even economic. We have been trying to say GST. We're trying to persuade every chief minister. Is the paralysis in the Congress government, in the UPA government, or the paralysis in the opposition?
No, but something has changed over the last few weeks.
That's
where there is an added sense of purpose. Where does this come from?
No. This comes from the fact that the economic situation, if it goes for the further downturn, will have disastrous consequences on the long-term interests of India.
But any economist could have foretold this, and you've got such a powerhouse of renowned economists in the government. If they knew this is where we were going, why did they wait till we reached the cliff?
We were trying to persuade everybody to come on board. And otherwise you would have...
still not on board.
That's just a different matter. But everybody knows that we've tried our best to persuade everybody. Otherwise, if we had brought these bills without the persuasion and without the attempt to persuade, you would have said, you haven't even talked to the opposition. You haven't even talked to your allies. How are you bringing bills without having a dialogue? Then you would have... This would be the headline news. Now that we are bringing it, you say, why are you bringing it? Because you don't have the numbers. You can't have it both ways. We've given enough time to everybody. To persuade them to come on board. Since they are not coming on board, we're taking the plunge.
No, because if you look at FDI in retail, even your own partners are not on board. Is that not a problem? Because the finance minister, the then finance minister, the current president, promised to parliament that an attempt would be made to achieve unanimity.
It is implemented.
Yes.
There's no going back on it. The notifications have been issued. And what is this big deal about FDI and retail? It'll impact 18 cities in India. How is it going to affect the Kirana shop holder? I don't know what we're talking about. I mean, the facts are crystal clear. Look, 18 cities in India is all that's going to happen. And that also, 1/3 of outsourcing will be done from the domestic market. It's going to create jobs. It's going to help the farmer. The farmers are happy about it, right? And why don't you ask all the farming community? They're very thrilled with it.
Because the government's critics
Because the BJP stands for a little lot of traders in this country. And right, that's their support base. That's why they are where they are.
Because the government critics say that this is because the Prime Minister received so much bad press internationally. He's so concerned about his international image. That acted as the spur.
Rahul, you must be really naive. No, whoever they are, they must be really naive that they think that our Prime Minister acts at the behest of Washington. Our Prime Minister, since 1991, has always acted on behalf of the Aam Aadmi and in the long-term interests of India.
Do you think at some level this could have been done faster, sooner? The same purpose that we see now. You would let me ask you a candid question. So you would accept that there is greater purpose that's been seen over the last 3 weeks than there has been previously.
I'll tell you the reason. You look at the last few sessions of Parliament. Work hasn't taken place. I mean, the agendas outside Parliament took over Parliament. You know, whether it was Anna Hazare's movement, the Lokpal bill, all kinds of agitations outside, Parliament was paralyzed. 2G,
but the same will happen in the next session.
It cannot happen.
Why not?
It cannot, because those issues are over. Supreme Court has given its judgment. Anna Hazare's team has broken up.
Not on Colgate.
No, Colgate is not an issue. Colgate, they've already paralyzed Parliament, one session of Parliament. If they want to paralyze the next, then also the people of India will know.
They'll have FDI in retail.
Let's see.
Pension, insurance.
As far as FDI is concerned, it's done. It's a deal that's done. Now, as far as paralyzing Parliament is concerned, if they want to do it again, let them do it. Let them do it. We'll see what happens. Because the people of India will then know, not only do they have a 19th century mindset, but they're also anti-democratic. They want to destroy the very foundations of Indian democracy. If this is what the BJP stands for, we'd like to see that happen.
Arvind Kejriwal has announced the launch of his new political party. Anna Hazare says he'll campaign for Arvind if he contests against Kapil Sibal. It's being said that 2014 will see Arvind Kejriwal versus Kapil Sibal. You're smiling, sir.
Why not?
You're ready for this fight?
Which fight?
Chandni
For
Chowk.
example, supposing Anna Hazare were to say that if Rahul Kamal were to stand from Chandni Chowk, I'll support him. Do you want me to comment on that?
No, but Rahul Kamal is not a political activist, and I'm not contesting in Delhi.
You're a great personality. You're a media personality. You're young. You're handsome. People will want to vote for you. And if Anna Hazare says so, you want me to comment on it?
No, but what if Arvind... What do you make of Arvind Kejriwal?
So once you say what if, there is no answer to that question.
What do you make of Arvind Kejriwal's party?
I think it's great. I think everybody is entitled to have a political party and to give an agenda to the people of India and to follow up on that, and the people will test them.
Do you think it can have an impact in the Delhi polls?
I don't know whether it will have an impact. It depends on how the people react to them. What the people believe, what perception people have of them. And this will depend on how they project themselves, and it will depend on what they've done in the past.
Given that there is a sense that there is an anti-incumbency mood in the air, and you in some senses are the faces of the government when it came to the Anna agitation, do you think that could prove costly at the hustings?
These are all imponderables that you can sort of imagine in your mind and come to all kinds of conclusions. Politics is about the reality on the ground. And in 2014, you'll get to know the reality on the ground.
Do you think they can act as a moral weight, given the fact that their constitution or their vision has certain very interesting things which other parties could learn from? Do you think they could act at least as a moral weight?
This is all speculative. Do you think that? Do I think that? I think about my constitution.
Are you worried?
Why should I be worried? Tomorrow you may stand, somebody else may stand. When we comes, see, every election is a tough election, right? You cannot take anything for granted. Anybody can stand against you, right? Even the weakest person can win against you, right? And the strongest person can lose against you. You have to be ready as far as your own election is concerned. I'm ready for anybody to come and challenge me. That's all that I can say. I'm really not bothered. A, B, C, or D. Anybody can stand.
Given the number of graft charges and the general perception around this government, do you think it makes life tougher in this election than in earlier?
I don't know what you're talking about. We'll see. You see, on the one hand, there is a media hype about many things. On the other hand, we've done great things on the ground, right? It is the people who will judge us. Not on what you say on television, but what we have delivered on the ground.
Do you think Arvind's party is essentially media hype?
I don't want to say anything. Why should I comment on anybody? It's not fair of me to comment on somebody else's party. They have their own vision, their own perceptions, and their own belief in themselves. Why should I criticize them or comment on them? I'll just say welcome. Any political party is welcome.
The other big election that's happening right now is the Gujarat election. There was an opinion poll which came out which said that Narendra Modi seems to be winning the third time. Even if we leave the opinion poll results on the side for a moment and see the situation on the ground, it almost seems as if the Congress doesn't have its heart in this fight.
I entirely disagree with you.
Why is that?
I think the situation on the ground is entirely different. I think Narendra Modi is doing what he's doing because he's worried that the situation on the ground is not what you are saying on television that it is. In fact, the situation on the ground is pretty bad for him because we get feedback from Gujarat.
What is the feedback you're getting?
The feedback that we are getting is that the hype, his own hype, the numbers that he talks about, the fact that people are not getting water in Saurashtra, and the fact that there is huge corruption and there have been scams, and also the fact that many ministers in his government have been totally exposed. I think all these factors...
But where is the fight on the ground? There's Narendra Modi. Who's there from the Congress?
You are saying that where is the fight on the ground? I am saying that Narendra Modi has lost the confidence of the people of Gujarat. This is what I believe.
No, but let me ask you this. Who's the Congress's chief ministerial candidate?
Well, I don't...
On the ground, don't you think the Congress seems a little leader?
I think you're making too much of it. Where was there are lots of times when elections are fought without a chief ministerial candidate and parties win without a chief ministerial candidate.
But in the recent past, we've seen wherever you projected a face, that's when you've done better because clearly people want to know whom they're voting for. That's been a trend.
This is the time when people will know who they are not voting for. So I think it's good that Modi is there and he is the leader of that party in Gujarat because I know the people of Gujarat by and large do not vote for him. That's an advantage to us.
Because Modi seems to be using this election to leapfrog to the center. Every attack that he makes seems to either take on Sonia Gandhi or the Prime Minister. He's projecting himself as a Prime Ministerial aspirant.
I don't know what he's projecting. That's something that I cannot enter his mind. But all I can say is that the kind of discourse we've had on by Modi through the media channels is pathetic. I think that any man who aspires to be anything in this country, if this is the level of that discourse, I don't think the people of India can accept him. I don't think the people of Gujarat are going to accept him. Forget the people of India.
Because the question that Modi was asking was about the amount of money the government spent on Mrs. Gandhi's
Well, anyway, I don't want to, as you know, I think that this is petty. I think that Narendra Modi wants to improve his own stature by doing this. And I don't think that Narendra Modi deserves a comment on any of this. I think the people of India know a lot about Narendra Modi by now.
You had a big run-in with him over the Akash tablet, where you sent a tablet to him and he was furious, saying that you need to send it to the 10 lakh people you promised to send it to.
First of all, you just look at the lies look at the lies in all this. Number one, please point out any statement of mine that I will send Akash tablets to 10 lakh children in Gujarat or 10 lakh children in India. Please point out any statement made by me since 2009. So that itself is a lie. How this started was that when he was dealing with politics in Gujarat, he said, "Where is your Akash? It is not even on the ground." So I sent him an Akash because, again, this is something I wanted to tell him, that we have actually broken the global price point of tablets. This is such a historic occasion for us. The global community is looking towards us for the Akash tablet. And this man is saying, "Where is the Akash?" So I said, "Okay, here is the Akash." Now he didn't even have the courage to accept it, right? He threw out my man from his office, threw him out and said,
He said, "I don't need it, it's the kids who need it."
That's right. He needs it more. Because I think if he needs it, I think if he gets it, he will empower himself. Because Akash is a source of knowledge. And Narendra Modi should expand his mental horizons and be a little more sensitive to the concerns of his own people, which he has shown, which how the people of Gujarat feel about those concerns. So I think, so when I sent him, he rejected it. Then I sent him by courier. He rejected that too. Then he said, "I'm bribing him." So I said, I love to bribe a man who we need to educate. So I will bribe him again and again. If I can succeed in expanding his horizons, I will certainly bribe him again and again. So there's where, see, Narendra Modi can't get the better of me. He knows that. He knows he can't get the better of
You've
me.
been trying
And
to
he better not try. He better not try. Because I know where he should be. And he knows I don't have to say anything.
Why not?
I know where he should be.
Why is the Congress so scared?
Well, no, I'm not scared.
Say, I know
where he should be. He should be out of power. And he will be out of power.
That's your sense.
I'm
because
sure.
the numbers don't seem to indicate that.
I mean, again, this is all, as I said, this is all your media perception. We'll see what happens on the ground in December.
There is a sense in the Congress that if the BJP were to project Narendra Modi as their prime ministerial face, that will be the biggest anti-incumbency booster dose the Congress could get. Do you share that perception?
I can tell you that Narendra Modi can never be projected either by the BJP or himself as a prime ministerial candidate.
Why is that?
For the simple reason, Narendra Modi does not stand for anything in this country. This country is a secular country which believes in living together. Narendra Modi is the opposite of that. And the symbol of anti-secularism can never be a prime ministerial candidate.
But he keeps tom-tomming his development agenda.
No, he may tom-tom anything. I mean, who prevents a person to tom-tom about himself?
But I get this sense that because of what happened with Mrs. Gandhi in 2007 with the Maut Ka Saudagar comments, the Congress now is very guarded. They're very careful about what they...
I've said so many things about him on your channel. I'm not guarded.
I
don't think he deserves to be either chief minister or prime minister. That he happens to be is another matter. But the people of Gujarat will realize the man should not be where he is.
Tell us this. There are two rounds of big-ticket economic reforms that the government has pushed through over the last few weeks. Will we see more? Will we see the same sense of purpose continue?
Absolutely.
Or will it die down?
No question of dying down. As I said, you're talking only about financial reforms. Look at the enormous reforms UPA has done. Take the education sector. I don't think in 65 years the kind of reform agenda has been there as we have done in the education sector. Look at IT. Look at the fiber optic network that we're laying in this country. 250,000 villages, Gram Panchayats are going to be connected with fiber optics. The National Knowledge Network, connecting 600 universities through a dedicated national knowledge network and 35,000 colleges, government and private. Look at the kind of revolution that has taken place in telephony. Look at the way things are. These are all reforms that have happened without legislation. But nobody talks about it because you only talk about some legislative problem which might come up in parliament. You just forget about the enormous changes this government have brought about. Remember this. Look at this.
Important. So are you I'm not saying that anything which requires legislative action, the government won't be able to do.
Who said that? I just said it in the beginning of your thing, that we are committed to take the reform agenda, financial reform agenda forward. But my comment is only to the extent that besides that, we have done so much of monumental reform that the people of India know. Yeah. I mean, look at our social sector schemes. Has there ever been such schemes anywhere at any time in the history of India?
Sure. The people are asking the government to bite the bullet. The Prime Minister has taken in an entire artillery gun. Now it needs to fire.
We have written 10 bullets at the same time.
All of them At the
10
same
bullets
time.
at the same time. Now it's difficult for
Making
the
up for
opposition to
lost time.
swallow them.
Making up
It's
for lost time.
difficult for the opposition to swallow.
Making up for lost time. Thank you very much, Mr. Kapil Sibal, for joining us. We, look forward to seeing how this is actually translated into action. For joining us on Hot Pursuit, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.